Welcome to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and of course a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend Guard, your host, and I just want to quilt. Speaking to Megan Lundgren. She lives in Oklahoma. She is part of our Quilting Army. She joined on our Facebook group and then reached out to me and was willing to be interviewed. She is a quilter. She is a long armor, and she's really fun. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. It was great. Megan's so cool. Anyway, this is me and Megan chatting for about 45 minutes. As usual, I think it's going to go half an hour, but then we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Great. My name's Megan Lundgren. I live in Minko, Oklahoma. So I'm about an hour outside of Oklahoma City.
So are you in a big town or a small town or sort of?
Small town, about 1,500 people. So really, really small town. But like I said, Oklahoma City and like the greater metro area is about half an hour.
So like shopping, right? You can go there to get stuff, right?
Yeah. And I work my day job for the University of Central Oklahoma, which is in Oklahoma City. So I'm commuting back and forth.
Yeah, right. Cool. Okay, well, you know what question we're going to start with. What's your first memory of quilting or sewing in your life?
So my mother was a garment sewer, or is a garment sewer. Growing up, she made most of me and my sisters all of our clothes. I had a really long conversation with her last night, and she said she even made most of her maternity clothes for us. And then when she went to go work full-time when my youngest sister hit school age, she's now a public school teacher. You lose time. And so she kind of quit sewing, but she wasn't. So I remember being like 4 or 5 years old, sitting on her lap and starting to learn the ins and outs of a sewing machine then. So
I love that. That's like such a great age. Mine started sewing about that time too. And it's like, I guess, like learning a language. You're not afraid to sort of jump in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you sew all your life, or did you have a period where you didn't sew?
No, I really didn't sew a whole lot. Every once in a while, they would be like, oh, I want to make a bag or, a little 4-H project that I turned in. And then I asked for a sewing machine for my high school. I think it was high school graduation or either my 18th birthday. And it really didn't get used a whole lot. Like I would maybe make a pair of pajamas.
Why do you think you asked for it? What made you want that for your graduation or your birthday?
I wanted to make bags at that time. Yeah. So I wanted to make my own purses and bags. And I had that creativity. It's just, I was so busy. I played a college sport my freshman year in college.
What sport did you play?
Softball. Yeah, I played softball at the University of Science and Arts in Oklahoma. And then after, I didn't play after that second year, and I started kind of picking it up and would make like a pair of pajama pants or something really quick and easy to put together.
And why do you think you were sewing at that point? So there's kind of this notion of like sewing. So for a lot of people, sewing is a necessity. Like it's easier to get the clothes that way. It's too expensive. But then there's kind of this moment of a shift where it's like fabric is actually a little more expensive in some way than just going and getting cheap pajamas at a big box store or something like that. So what made you decide to sew when you were making the pajamas?
Well, I think it's being able to make something yourself. And so many of those things were gifted. So I was hand making a gift for someone else, which just feels different than going and buying one of those goods at the store.
Yeah, it's about the meaning and the personal making that matters, not necessarily the pajamas themselves, but the act of creating it. Is that what you think sort of starts to happen? It's not a necessity, it's out of love. I mean, not that the other wasn't out of love, but now it's really sort of love comes first. Mm-hmm. Necessity is coming second. Because if you really just needed pajamas, you just go buy pajamas. Right.
And they were probably better made than the ones I made, honestly.
Yes, I feel that way too all the time. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. So I think, okay, so you were making pajamas sometimes. So when did you get into more serious sewing and quilting?
After I got out of grad school,
What grad school, what did you go do in grad school?
I am a therapist. I'm a mental health counselor.
Oh,
Um, I work at the Student Counseling Center at UCO.
got it.
Um,
Got it.
that's what I do. So I got out of my graduate degrees in community counseling.
Cool.
Um, so once you finish, then you've got like 2 years of supervision where you're working under someone else's license. And so just that's really kind of like a whirlwind in my life where I was so busy. There was very little time for hobbies. I was, doing internships and trying to stay on top of school, and all of that just then comes to a halt. And I'm like, I kind of need a hobby, I need to do something. I need to make something.
All my time.
Yeah. And so it was my husband now, but we were just dating, and I decided I wanted to make his son a quilt, who was 9 at the time, my stepson now. So I just decided, I was like, I'm going to make him a quilt. My first quilt was given to me by my 3rd grade teacher when I graduated from high school. She gave me a quilt.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's super special. I mean, it's still being used today at my house. So I thought about, when people are special to you, you make them something.
Right,
And
that's a way to show your stepson that you love him, right? Like it's a form of love.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So I decided to tackle a full-size bed quilt for my first quilt.
Okay, that's insane. So how did that go?
It came together. I finished it. I sewed the whole thing with 5/8 seams because I really didn't read the directions real well.
Okay.
It's
a little hard to read directions. I just decided that I am so impatient to just get to the sewing part that I don't read the directions, and then the sewing doesn't go well and I don't know why, and that's because I had to just stop. I was in this class and I was they were talking about something in the directions. I was like, I didn't even notice that in the directions. So I need to, so I'm there with you. I totally get it. So do you read directions now?
I do. About half of the things I make now come from patterns, and about the other half is just things I put together without a pattern. And sometimes after I finish something with a pattern, then I'm like, now I've got to make something that I'm not following any directions on.
Funny? I felt that way last night. So I've been doing this really persnickety pattern, and I felt like I just had to do something where nobody was telling me what to do. Do you feel that way? And I feel like my whole life is people telling me what to do, and I don't want people telling me what to do when I'm quilting. I really got very kind of obstinate about this whole direction thing. It's weird. If I can't figure it out myself, I don't want to do it. I don't know.
Right there with you.
It's my time, my way. Mm-hmm. I don't care what it looks like. It's mine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So tell me more about your quilting life now.
So with that, it kind of ties back to that first quilt. When I finished it, I decided to also try to quilt it myself. And I discovered Leah Day at that time. Yeah. So it was your earlier interview with her. I love Leah Day.
She's amazing. Yes. She's got a walking foot walk of the month thing going. Are you doing that one?
No, I'm not. It's just there's so many block of the months to do, and
I know. I feel really stressed about it. There's too many, and you got to pick and choose. I don't know. I think we could be great friends, Megan, because I feel the same way. I just feel like too many. There's too many.
I follow so many of them. I'm following Angela Walters' one right now, but I'm not playing.
Yeah. But I don't know if I want to do that one either. I felt like I was going to do it. I put together some of it, but it was so arduous to put together the top to get to it that I felt a little frustrated, and I couldn't get to did you feel that way too? I did. Yeah,
I looked at the top and was like, I'm not going to make that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Leah Day starts out with, the first part is just practice squares. So I think I can do that. So I'm going to try that one. I really she's so smart, and she makes you feel like I love Angela Walters too. I think she's incredible. But Leah, they both make you feel like you can do it.
Exactly. I think she's such a good teacher, and she just speaks so She breaks it down and explains it so clearly and it doesn't feel like she's talking over you. There's no moments where I think I have no idea what she's talking about. She explains it so well.
And she teaches you how to do it right. So I'm trying to like live by her, like, make the knot and hide the knot, hide the thing. Like for someone who doesn't follow directions very well, I'm trying with her stuff. So I just think it's interesting that Leah Day and Angela Walters have very different ways of approaching it, and even different ways of like stopping and starting and like all of it. It's really interesting to see the differences between the two of them. So, okay. So now what do you do? When do you quilt? So you're still working full time. So do you do it on weekends or mornings or?
Well, when we moved kind of out here to the middle of nowhere, I dropped to part-time. So now I have lots more time. So that's like I'm here on Monday. Monday's kind of my quilty day.
I like that.
Yeah. And I do some on the weekends, but we raise cattle and have a lot of life stuff going on where we're busy. And so I do try to kind of keep a lot of stuff to the time, like where my husband and my stepson are at work. As well.
Nice to have a Monday day. That's like a perfect Monday because like who wants to go back to work or school on Monday? So that's
exactly.
Really that's great.
So I found myself finishing tops just to get to the quilting because I really liked the quilting. So now I just got a long arm in September of this last year.
How is that? I yearn for that. That's really cool. How do you like it?
I love it.
Really?
I love it. Yeah.
Are you okay standing up? Does that bother you to do this standing up and doing it? Do you get tired or you don't notice it?
I don't really notice it. I find it, the one thing is when I definitely can tell, like when I start hunching over, further and further and further, like, it's like if I'm focusing so much on my design that I can notice my posture really isn't great. So my kind of rule, once I run out of a bobbin thread, then I walk away for 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that's true of everybody. So that's my rule too. So then we got these Superior Thread sent us a sample of pre-wound bobbins, which are like 3 times like the way it squishes a lot more thread in. And I was like, wow, I've been quilting a really long time because I was waiting for the bobbin to run out. And I'm like, okay, we can't do it that way because I'll be here for it was like hours of quilting. It was really remarkable how different that bobbin was. The pre-filled, you can't base your life on pre-filled bobbins because that would be my wisdom for the day. You can't base your quilting time on pre-filled bobbins, which maybe would be great for them. It could be a good ad campaign, but I forgot that it was pre-wound, so I kept waiting for it to run out so I could step away, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, and I had the option with mine they make a bigger bobbin for the long arms. You can get like an L or an M size bobbin, and I went ahead and put the smaller one. I was sort of like, I don't need to be standing there double the time before.
You're very clever. Right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I wonder how many, maybe we should do a poll of that. I wonder how many of us really do wait till the bobbin runs out to stop sewing. It was really interesting. Yeah, definitely. Or the needle breaks. It's a needle break. I walk away too. Do you do that too?
I do. And, if I'm sewing at nighttime, I sort of have I call it my one rip rule. Like if I have to rip something out once, I'll keep going. But as soon as I have to rip something out a second time, it's time for me to go to bed.
That's smart. I need that. Yeah.
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 I see people sewing, and my mom growing up, when she would be making clothes and stuff, she would sometimes sew all night long to get something made. And I just don't know how, because, about 10 o'clock, I'm like, I'm done.
When you go past the time you should be sewing, it's like somebody's got to take away your keys. It's like poor driving or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So you had some tools you had suggested. So we're looking for what tools you love. So this is our first time doing it. So tell me about the tools that you are suggesting that we should do some more research into that you love.
So the one of them that I really love is the Martelli rotary cutters.
All right. So show me what that you have. Do you have that?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. It looks weird. So tell me, it looks like a pizza cutter with sort of at a right angle. Is that what it looks like?
It's kind of at an angle, and you have this handle.
Yeah.
That you hold on to, that you roll it like this.
Yeah.
I find that I can put more pressure and like, and also cut through more layers of fabric with this compared to
straight one. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're more precise with that one?
I don't know if more